$1 billion in net revenue. What do we take away from that?
I think it shows that this company is really growing. So that's $1 billion in net revenue for this past third quarter. Last year, the net revenue for that same quarter was about $500 million. So a huge acceleration in growth, and that acceleration is not slowing down. Actually, they're predicted to grow about 60% year over year compared to this time, compared to the end of the year, compared to last year. So the company is really on the fast track, which is interesting because this Morgan Stanley report came out that said that growth was slowing down a bit, but the Morgan Stanley report actually, exactly. So the Morgan Stanley report really only looked at the U.S. and parts of Europe, and it only polled about 4,000 Airbnb users, and it didn't take into account these two huge new markets for the company, which is Latin America and China. So China saw about an 80% growth year over year, and Latin America saw 150% growth. So if you don't factor those in, yeah, it's going to look like the company is slowing down because it does appear that it is slowing a bit in the U.S. and in parts of Europe. So it's such a small sampling.
At the same time, we also learned that Airbnb is and has been profitable. We don't know to what extent, but they're on a profitability streak. So that means for several quarters they've been profitable?
Right, so they've been profitable for about 17 months now, which is a really good sign. Most Silicon Valley upstarts are not yet profitable. We look at Uber, we look at WeWork, they're not there yet. Airbnb is there, and I think Brian Chesky has said that he expects to bring this company to the public markets within a year. So it's a really good sign, but they're going to have to continue to work pretty hard to justify that $31 billion valuation.
Now, you mentioned China. You said they're seeing growth there. At the same time, we've seen some tumult in the China leadership. The CEO of Airbnb in China recently had to leave.
Step down, yeah.
And we now know a little bit more about why.
We do.
Remind us what happened there. You've got Nate Blachowicz, the co-founder of Airbnb, taking over as chairman of China. What are the dynamics now at play?
So Hong stepped down basically for personnel reasons. We understand that there had been a relationship between him and another Airbnb colleague, and I think that the company felt it was appropriate that he leave, which is an interesting signal, in the age of Uber, where I think they're really trying to take a stance and say that they're not going to stand for that kind of behavior at that company. So yeah, definitely turmoil there, and China is such a huge, huge part of their growth and their forecasts. So they're going to have to make sure that that market is really well taken care of. So by putting Nate Blachowicz in charge there, I think it's a signal that they're taking it really seriously. But I do understand that they're still looking for leadership there, and it's really difficult to find somebody who wants to work for an American company in China, an American tech company in China, because it is so difficult to build a successful tech company